Hello, hello. Welcome to What the Flicks. I'm Susan Ayers,
I'm Patty Smith. Hi.
Jorge Sanchez.
and every
At your
week.
service.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I cut you off there.
Regard me.
And every week, we each pick a movie and then we discuss it. Okay? Just much like you would after you saw a movie with a bunch of people. Anyways, so today's movies are Shape of Water, Harriet, and Pieces of April. Okay, so we're going to start with Harriet, which was my choice.
There's not much time. You got to be miles away from here before dawn. Where is she? Follow that North Star. If there are no stars, just follow the river. Listen for them. Fear is your enemy. Whoa, easy now.
I'm gonna be free or die.
I don't know if you know how extraordinary this is, but you have made it 100 miles to freedom all by yourself. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet. It was directed by Cassie Lemons. It was screenplay by Gregory Allen Howard and Casey Lemons. And it was starring Cynthia Erivo, who was excellent as Harriet Tubman. Leslie Odom from,
What?
he was
Hamilton.
from Hamilton,
Oh.
right? As William Still. And Mary and Janelle Monáe as Mary Buchanan and Buchanan? Yeah, I guess that's how you'd say it.
Yeah.
And Clark Peters as Ben Ross. Okay, the reason this is this is the story of a historical heroine, Harriet Tubman. Minty was her name that they called her. She escapes from slavery and then her transformation as a sort of a Moses figure, returning to help other enslaved people to freedom. Harriet, Minty, is unable to read or write, but has visions, probably due to a head injury that occurred when she was 13 years old. I thought the British actress Cynthia Erivo was excellent in her portrayal as the heroic Harriet Tubman. The music was amazing, but I can't put my finger on it why this movie just didn't wow me. Because the storyline is so
Yeah, tell the
more
storyline.
epic. It was so epic. Well, I basically did. So that's basically the story. I mean,
Underground Railroad.
It's a true story. She really did this, and she really did have visions, and she is a very she's kind of a very determined, almost naive person, and that seems to work for her, right? In her struggle. But I don't know why the movie. Thank you, Patty. And I don't know why the movie was just okay for me. It was just okay.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
liked it. The performances were wonderful. I just thought that I wanted to read a little more to see if these the events happened, but I don't know if the particular of the events happened. You know what I mean? I think that they
Embellished Hollywood.
there was a certain amount of Hollywood embellishment
Creative,
there.
what do they call
But
it?
yes, but it was a marvelous story. I really recommend the movie. It just didn't wow me.
Okay.
Patty?
I'll go. I liked Harriet too. I thought it was incredible. It was done in a quiet way. And I think part of what made it quiet was the brutality was really done cautiously. So, like 12 Days a Slave,
Right.
you really saw a lot of brutality, which always acts like a big pow in the movie industry. But in this one, you get the evidence of brutality. You don't see the brutality, except here and there. What she did, because she started the Underground Railroad, it was like a fluke. She escaped. She went 100 miles, not knowing she went 100 miles, to somewhere in Pennsylvania. I think it was Pittsburgh.
Pennsylvania, yeah. It was the
No,
Quakers.
it was
I think.
Philadelphia. It was Philadelphia. Yeah, right. And she meets up with people who are also interested in going back and forth, and that's kind of how the Underground Railroad started. She only did 19 trips, but considering she never got caught, she never lost a person is pretty amazing. All these things are amazing, but that's really hard to capture on film, and yet it's worth going to, because the woman who plays her, who is Cynthia Erivo, who I've never seen before, or I don't know I've
She's
seen
British.
before.
She's a British
Yeah,
actress.
was perfect. I mean, how they describe Harriet Tubman in history books, she really kind of played that off. Very practical, very right, go ahead, and a very strong woman role. And today we heard that a couple of years ago, when they were thinking of making this movie, they wanted
I heard that.
Julia Roberts
saw-
to play the role of Harriet, and they said, "Yeah, but Harriet Tubman's black," and they went, "Oh, it was so long
don't-
ago,
yeah,
nobody will remember." And it's like, hello, catch up, right? What she had was narcolepsy. That's what the diagnosis was. But I think she actually had visions. She kind of saw like a deja vu, where you see eclipses
Yeah,
of the next couple of minutes.
Yeah. She actually led her. That's why I kind of feel it was a Moses story, almost like
Right.
it was
Well,
like
that was her
almost,
nickname.
almost by accident.
Right,
You know, she was successful because it's not like she did a whole lot of planning.
right.
You know.
I gotta say, for the music, if you like old gospel,
Oh my God.
like this is get the soundtrack. Even if you don't see the movie, get the soundtrack. It's that good. But I really liked it. But it was very cautious. It was a cautious movie. It didn't seem to. But I think that's because that's how it was. It
Supposed to
probably
be.
happened. You know how it really happened, not like Hollywood would make it. But it's worth seeing.
George?
Yeah, I like it too. But both your points, like you say, it was cautious, and you said it didn't wow you. When you do movies that are that heavy, that's the subject matter.
Yeah.
They're really heavy. Like you walk out of the room like Schindler's
12
List
Days a Slave.
12 Years a Slave. Yeah, it was like you watch it like. So this movie,
Or Schindler's
it had a very
List.
light feel to it. I mean, it's a heavy subject, and it's obviously her story, but it did to me have a light feel. It didn't feel heavy like I'm.
Right,
I was
that's
like,
true.
"Oh."
Yeah.
And obviously you're talking about the gospel and singing. The Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Leslie Odom, she won a Tony for.
Hamilton.
No, she won a Tony for.
You mean
playing-
Monet?
No, Cynthia. That to make
Right.
it.
Oh, yeah.
She won a Tony for The Color Purple. She played Celie.
Yes.
And
Oh,
he
really?
won. And he won a Tony for. She won Best Actress.
Hamilton.
He won a Tony for Hamilton.
Who did?
Leslie Odom Jr.
Oh.
And they won it the same year.
He's a singer. You know that we
He's a
say
singer.
that he's a singer.
What happens is she's married, she does this junket, escapes, comes back to get her husband and family, and she finds out he remarried because, it looked like she died.
But also, she didn't tell him she was leaving. She
Right.
just
Well,
left.
Yeah,
and how she did,
also.
and how she did the leaving is how she did when she came back. They used song. That's how I guess slaves talk to each other. They use songs like famous, not famous, but famous gospels to tell people like, "I'm leaving now. Are you coming with me?" Or "I'm going to be over yonder." Something like that.
Yeah, but she didn't tell anybody.
No, she couldn't the first time.
She just ran
'Cause she
And-
was
and-
escaping.
and- yeah, but she was escaping, but she didn't know where she was escaping to.
Right, that's true.
She didn't know about the minister at the church. She didn't know about any of that. She just
left.
She just left.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. She just kind of fluked out, and that seems to be through the whole movie, and that's why I say she is a Moses figure, like the spreading
Absolutely.
of the and why I believe, like you, those were not accidental visions.
Right. What do you think the relationship between her and the slave owner was? They had grown up together.
Oh, you
It
mean
was
the
kind of
son?
weird.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird because it's almost like you see, like they kind of conflicted. Like there might be a friendship or an attraction, but they're supposed to be lesser than you. So they seem. I always notice a lot of times at least in movies, that the slave owners always have a conflict with their
Right.
slaves,
Right.
especially that.
Well, that's kind of funny. It's almost reminds me of Schindler. Do you remember the of Ray Fiennes, where
Right,
he's
where he likes the girl.
he likes
Yeah.
that the
Jewish girl.
the Jewish girl
Right,
that's
right.
his housekeeper. So these I think that at that time, I'm not 100%, but I think a lot of time they all played together until a certain age,
Yeah, then it changes.
and then it was separated.
Right.
So, but they still have that children
Connection.
connection.
Yeah, right.
Like he knows her very well. She knows
Knows
him very well.
Yeah, I thought that relationship was really interesting because you can see he's conflicted, but it interferes with. It would have been better if he had just been a bad slave owner. You know what I mean?
Well, I think he was. I think that it actually that part I thought was pretty accurate. Like I thought it was interesting. Like the kind of matter of fact way that when the husband dies and she's
Whose husband?
the slave owner's
father.
husband, the
Yeah,
father,
Right.
and she's kind of trying to figure out how she's going to make ends meet. And so that's what's going to happen. They're going to sell off
Right. Slaves. Right.
slaves.
Right.
And it's kind of like these are people that their whole life it was like irrelevant. It was irrelevant that this is their home and
Right.
that they're brothers or that
Yeah,
they're,
it's like-
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
right,
It was
right.
like
Selling,
okay, we need money. How are we going to get it? We'll
It's
sell
like how
this,
we treat
can-
cattle now.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
exactly.
like selling,
you were
tables.
property. You were property.
Yeah.
Another point of the movie too that I thought it felt a little bit kind of reminded me of The Doors, Jim Morrison.
Yeah, you were
Because
saying
it's
that.
Explain that.
Because the Doors they kind of made it almost a mystical fantasy where he had visions. And
Oh, you mean
a
the
lot-
movie?
Yeah, the movie,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Doors,
okay,
the movie,
right.
yeah, the Doors. So it's like when when you do a character and you make him almost a mystical, magical.
Right,
So
right.
in the movie, in the Doors, they made Jim Morrison like, he pretty much is on high on drugs, but
Yes,
they made him
and
like,
he is,
oh, this
yes.
character.
But hold on, she really was
she did-
mystical and magical.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
and
thing
I
about-
was like,
but
there is no way she could have succeeded all those times
Without those visions.
Without those visions.
Yeah.
There's no way. They told her don't go
Well,
this
that part
way, go that
reminded
way.
me that the visions and how they showed it. Yeah, the mysticism part of it, that kind of reminded me of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, right.
The second point I was thinking too, I can't imagine somebody going 100 miles and traveling through all that stuff.
Yeah,
But
it's
then-
just a fluke.
But then I think too, people now they still do that. Immigrants or
Right.
people from going through Europe or coming up north from Central South America.
Right.
So people still they have to travel to that. So people still go through that stuff.
Absolutely.
Sometimes when you have to do something,
necessity,
you just do
you
it. You just do it. You don't think,
And-
I got to go 100
And
miles.
let's hope God's on our side.
Yeah.
Like it was on Harriet's side.
Yeah.
Because that's very helpful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Patty?
I give it a 7, even though I think you should see it.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
to see it to know what we mean.
Yeah, I'll give it a 8. I saw 12 Years a Slave, and that's just much.
Well,
that was more
The way it was presented.
Well, it
right,
was
right.
also an optimistic movie. It wasn't a sad movie. It wasn't like Schindler or where it leaves you feeling, oh my God.
Are they going to get through this? Are they
Yes.
going to do this?
Because yes, I feel I'll go with Patty in a 7, but I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why I'm
But it's
giving
a
it a
great movie.
7. It's a great movie, but it didn't. In other words, it's not something I think about 3 days later.
It's not a dynamic like, you're holding your breath every 3 seconds. It seems like because of these visions, she floats seemingly through the next stage of whatever her journey
Yeah.
is. And and they always compare it to 12 days, what is it? 12 days, no, 12 years
years.
a string.
Oh, no,
which
no,
was
not
so
even
much more
close.
But
difficult.
it's-
But they do compare it to that. And I find it's just a different kind of movie, a
sometimes
different kind
too,
of experience.
Kind of like The Color Purple too. A lot of times could be this maybe the way it was directed or the way it was
Hey,
edited.
Color Purple was amazing. I was thinking about that years later.
Yeah.
That's
I
my
still
point.
think
A
about
lot
it.
of times it could be a great story, but sometimes it could be just the way it was edited or the way.
Yeah,
you're
that could
you're
be.
right. I'm really not sure. I hate to.
Because I thought I was coming, heavy.
I
coming
hate
see a
to
heavy
mention
movie, but
this. I mean, it might be true, but I'm wondering. She's a very American.
Icon?
She's a very American figure,
Who?
Harriet Tubman, and the actress is English, and I don't know that might be. I don't know. It might not work in
No,
that
I don't think.
situation.
Well, I don't know if it would make a difference because now practically all the movies the actors are English.
If you want to be good acting, yes.
Yes, but
And they have to be really good
no,
at it.
you know, I'm
They're really good at it.
I'm reaching at straws. It's like I should have loved the movie. I can't tell you anything bad about the movie. The music was great. She was great.
She was great.
Cinematography,
You know,
the color.
everybody
Yeah.
in it was great. The
Everybody was.
cinematography was great.
It's the story itself. It's
Yeah,
something
but-
so unbelievable that somebody could do this.
That's why I say it could have been editing.
It could have
the
been.
cuts,
Yeah,
the
I
You guys are editors, so I don't know.
yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, so
so
that's
we
why I wanted to do that one first because it was conflicting for me that I felt like that about this movie.
Right.
And actually, when we first watched it,
Right.
I didn't know that I was like Harriet.
But she
what's
did
that
not fall
about?
asleep. I want you to notice that.
No, I did not fall asleep. It
that
was
to me is Susie's
that's
guide.
why I'm saying that's what I'm saying. It's like I should have loved this movie. I don't know why I didn't. Anyways, so let's move on to our next
We'll
movie.
be back.
Let's more sake.
Yep.